Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Atlanta Motor Speedway, located 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta in Hampton, Georgia, has come a very long way from the very first race, held in 1960 and won by NASCAR legend Fireball Roberts, who also took the pole at 133 miles per hour. Spectators from that day who watched from one small grandstand or on blankets spread out on an adjacent dirt bank wouldn't begin to recognize the facility today, even down to its name. Dubbed Atlanta International Raceway when it opened, the track struggled financially through the 60s and 70s before finding a degree of stability in the 1980s. Real change came following Bruton Smith's purchase of the facility in 1990, with the transformation of Atlanta International Speedway occurring in 1997, with the extensive reconfiguration that switched front and back straightaways and added a double dogleg in the new front straightaway. In the 7 intervening years, new grandstands sprouted almost every year, and a 9-story tower, Terra Place, that houses the track offices and a number of luxury condominiums. Atlanta has been a staple on the NASCAR calendar for decades, and tonight, it's race number 2 of the Vigilante Racing League, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Steve Singer with Track Limits, joined in the broadcast booth by Chris Goins. Chris, how are you?
Doing well, Steve. How about you?
I'm doing good, Chris. Thanks for being here once again, helping us out here covering race 2 of the Vigilante Racing League. Season 11. These guys are really moving forward here. A good group of drivers. A big pack here tonight as well. Looking at, well, it looks like almost 40 trucks we're going to be working with here this evening. A big pack of trucks last night in the Numb Thumbs Racing League at 44. That was crazy, but awesome race then. Expecting more of the same here tonight. A little bit different, though. We're going to be under the bright sunshine instead of the Busco lighting system that we were looking at last evening. Let's take a look at those race details. Another change here. 3 laps longer, 133 laps the race distance. Air temperature 79 degrees Fahrenheit, 65% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 11-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temperature a little warmer than last night, 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers working with a 65% fuel load, which gives them 34 to 36 laps of fuel tonight. 4 sets of tires over the wall, no fast repairs, and instead of 3 green-white checkered attempts, we will try it once if necessary. Only one time to get this race in here tonight. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. We'll see what the top times are with a few minutes remaining. Fastest so far, it's the 1:23 of John Gallagher, Dustin Eaton second, Scott Roney, Mike Adamson, Joe Canellis, current top 5 with about 2 minutes left in the session. Now, Chris, you ran last night. Walk us through some of the things that you encountered, whether it's traffic or aero tight, tire issues. What was the biggest concern for you last night?
Well, you kind of get to a spot where the 2 lines kind of are stuck. You can't really go forward. You can't really get a good run around anybody. So, you know, if you're kind of 5th, 6th, 7th in line, you kind of have nowhere to go unless you've got somebody bold enough to stick in the middle 3 wide. And kind of make some room. I know I was trying to do that a little bit last night to just make my way through. You just kind of get stuck there and hope for an opening somewhere. Maybe somebody gets a little bit of a run. Somebody breaks off the car in front of them and slows them down. So today you're definitely going to see some tire issues. I think with that track temp as high as it is, we were slipping and sliding last night, and it was pretty cool. So that 106 degrees is going to be another variable in there, so watch out for that.
Certainly going to be a factor with an extra maybe 2 sets of tires compared to last night. Maybe it was only 3 we had last night, but it may actually come in handy here with those higher temperatures. We did talk to you after the race last night, and you did make mention about the top lane kind of being really where to get moves done, but you had to have the truck power or manpower, however you want to look at it, to get that handled. What's the best way to get enough drivers in that top lane together to make that outside line effective?
You just got to be able to keep the front 2 kind of hooked up. You don't necessarily want to lock bumpers through the corner here. It's a little bit tighter radius than like Daytona or anything like that from last week, but you want to be able to stay close enough to manage that run off the corner. If you can keep the front 2 close and keep that 3rd car there in line, you can get that run on the outside, so you're not pinned down. But it's just a matter of keeping that. knowing that you have to lift a little bit into the corner late in the run, you got to time it just right.
With that practice session in the books, black and red flags drop. That's it for practice. We're going to get right into qualifying. 2 laps, 5 minutes, whatever comes first. Just checking on the chat. We've already got a couple in here. CR Garage. We got Tom Janikowski. Cosmo Kramer says, let's go. Tim McAdams says, have a great broadcast. Steve, it's 47's night. I can feel it. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Chris Klein looks to be the first driver to roll out of pit lane in the number 18 Snap-on Tools machine. So I guess, Chris, I'll ask you another question. What's the key to qualifying? I know you had a little rough qualifying attempt last evening. What's best way to get around this place?
If I knew that, I wouldn't have qualified 32nd last night. No, so looking back and kind of thinking back on what I did last night, I think coming to the green, you kind of want. I think we saw Klein just do it. You kind of arc it through 3 and 4, kind of up high a little bit, get the run. You'll see a lot of these guys cut the underneath the red line there on the front stretch. I think you need to save that for the second lap only, because doing it on that first lap, I think cuts some speed and you save some time on that first lap, but I don't think it builds up the speed for the second lap. I think that's where I messed up last night. So is trying to cut it on the first lap. You're cutting time, but you're also cutting speed for laps. We'll see what happens, but I know we just saw Klein cut it, so we'll see what happens for a second lap.
Klein top of the board for now, 31.917. We'll see if it holds. So we reload the overlay here, a little bit of an issue. All better. We'll stick with Chris here, see if this second lap is quicker. That was the case last night. Again, it could be different here with the sunshine. Picks it up just a bit. 886 Klein, provisional pole sitter for the time being. Jeremiah Burke, one and done. He sits fourth. And Jack Dixon goes to the point. 31.765. Now Dustin Eaton second quick. Now Craig Goodenough jumps to the top. Scott Roney in the number 023. 32.013 his first lap. Dobson now jumps up into the third position. It's 31.836 for Scott Roney, 12th quick. Kevin Hunt in the 434. Kevin out of Danville, Virginia. Paint scheme on that car looks angelic. I feel like I'm looking towards the light in my near-death experience. It's very bright. Dustin Wade in the 68. 32.171. 24th quick the first lap. Craig Goodenough still fastest with a 52. Sorry, 75.752. Dixon still second with a 7.65. Wade goes top 10. Sixth place, 31.785. Old DW was quick last night. Finished second. 32.375 lap one. Throwaway lap for the one. Back to start finish across the stripe. Pole 31.746 for DW, and it doesn't last long as the 83 of Jason Gaines knocks him off with a 7.29. Kelly Cool in the 01. We'll see if Kelly can qualify anywhere near Alan Vaught here tonight. These two have been known to draft quite well together. Albert Anderson goes P2. And Kelly Cool, 23rd. Austin Paul in a Coors Light number 3. 31st quick, first lap. And that's it. Qualifying over. Good handful, maybe 2 handfuls of drivers didn't take a time in qualifying. Austin Paul didn't get his second lap in, but that's going to do it for the session. With that, let's jump right to it. We'll take a look here at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 31.729 seconds, it's the number 83 of Jason Gaines. Outside front row, missed it by 1/1000th of a second. Albert Anderson would have loved to have a little extra breeze down the backstretch. He'll start second. Row number 2, Derek Welch and Craig Goodenough. Row 3 is John McAdam and John Dixon. Row 4 is Ricky Wittenberg and Alan Vaught. Row 5, Greg Dobson and Dustin Wade. Starting in the 11th position is Mike Adamson in the number 88 machine. Dylan Bryant will roll off 12th. 13th starter, it's Dustin Eaton. Andrew Cawthon with his right elbow in 14th. Sean McDonald will start in the 15th spot. Zachary Hallinan, 16th. Stoney Benfield, 17th. 18th, Chandler Paul. 19th starter, Greg Klein. Dave Mayberry will roll off 20th. Scott Roney in the 023 from Jack Shack Racing will start 21st. 22nd, Andrew Player. Kelly Cool, 23rd. George Rincon, 24th. 25th starter is Anthony Williams. Mike Everidge, 26th. 27th is Chris Klein. 28th, Jeremiah Burke. Fast in practice. Keep an eye on the 53. Deion Jones will start 29th. 30th, Kevin Hunt. Austin Paul, 31st. Tim Pope, 32nd. Teammates there side by side. Josh Bittner will start 33rd. Also a teammate to those two ahead of him. Larry Dickerson, 34th. 35th, John Osborne. Lori Vaught credited with 36. She's just here in an admin role. Don't worry about her. Then it's Kyle Vaught, Russ Kilgore, Joe Canellis, and John Gallagher rounding out the field. It's your starting grid here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Field pretty much all gridded up here. Derek Welch asking to refresh the paints. Guess he made a late change for us. We'll get that squared away. Again, taking a look at the race details tonight. 133 laps, 3 laps longer than last night. 79-degree temperature, 67% humidity, partly cloudy, a little breezy at 12 miles per hour. Track temp down about 5 degrees at 101. 65% fuel load, 4 sets of tires over the wall, no fast repairs, 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Well, Chris, me and Zach Millett do this quite a bit, but who's your pick?
I had a feeling you were going to put that on me. And I honestly don't know. I've run with a lot of these guys and haven't run with even more of them. So, W looked good last night, but I think I'm going to have to get the old 99. I'm a very good driver with Albert.
Well, you just took my pick, so he had some bad luck last evening. Hopefully he can turn that around. So Albert Anderson goes for Chris Gones. I think I'm going to stick with old DW. I think he pulls a rabbit out of his hat here tonight. Moves up 1 position again, runner-up last night in his league.
Yeah, he's always strong up there in the front for sure. So I think it'll be a good race for him.
Pace truck pulls down pit lane. We're ready for the start. Barney with the green in hand. They're
Green
into
flag.
the start zone. Green flag in the air. It's waving, and we're racing from Atlanta. Trouble Manila 3 and 4. We got cars around. The 10 backwards on the racetrack. I think it's Andrew Cawthon. Looked good for a little bit. 3/4 of a lap, that is. Andrew Cawthon facing the wrong direction here in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Caution on the Speedway. Dave Mayberry, Chris Klein may have been involved in that as well. Let's see if we can catch a look at this. In real time. Oh, the 10 just came down the track and there was somebody there. 34 gets a small piece. Klein on the bottom sliding through. Don't think Klein really hit much of anything. I don't know, Cawthon just turned down like there was nobody there. I don't know if he didn't get the message from the spotter or what the case may be, but not really any heat in the tires yet. We're already having trouble here in the middle of 3 and 4. You see Anthony Williams and Chris Klein sliding there on the bottom of the racetrack. Good handful of drivers going to come down here and pit. Chandler Paul, Jeremiah Burke, Mayberry, Klein, Dickerson, Bittner, Kilgore, Cawthon, Osborne, Jack Dixon. Now, I'll ask this too, Chris. As long as you're not in that first crash, getting that first yellow out of the way, does that kind of relieve a little bit of attention from some of these drivers, or does it just kind of amp things up like, oh no, here we go. Is this going to be what we're going to deal with tonight?
On lap 1, no. If it was lap 15 or 20, maybe a little bit. Kind of nerves settle down some. You kind of get in a groove there for a little bit. But lap 1, all it does is just restart everything from the original pace lap.
Well, Derek, we refreshed the paints on our end, and we still see you in the same paint scheme. So I don't know if there was something that was supposed to change there or what the case may be. But it's still a good-looking truck, Derek. I don't know what it was supposed to look like, but it looks good. I suppose we could do a hard refresh here just to see if that helps it since we're under yellow. Base truck lights are out, so we're back green flag racing the next time by. Stream chat's been busy really since we got going here. We got Ali Nope, Juan Valdez. Wasn't Juan Valdez the coffee guy? Got Jillian, Kathy A. Well, that hard update, well, there we go. Now it's doing it again. Oh, there we go. Old DW. Now he's got the right scheme. Took a couple tries, but we got it done.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. Jason Gaines on the throttle. Craig Goodenough to the outside. Man, that second restart position, just not where you want to be. Top two is Gaines, Anderson, Alan Vaught now up to the third spot. Craig Goodenough just didn't fire off at the restart. Now Vaught with a run out of two, steps to the outside of Albert Anderson. No help for the 33 right now, but he's making it work, and this DW tucks in behind. Back to the stripe, first green flag lap completed here at Atlanta tonight. Gaines leads it. Vaught, Anderson, Welch, Goodenough the top five. Goodenough on the low side, the Bass Pro Shops number 89. The 47 of McAdam runs in sixth. He's on the outside in that white, black, and red truck. On board with Jason Gaines as the race leader, looking back at Albert Anderson and Alan Vaught. Back to the line, Gaines still leads it. Lap 8 goes up on the board. Anderson still in hot pursuit, just about 6 inches off the tailgate of the 83s. They roll through turns 1 and 2. Alan Vaught top side to the right elbow of the 99. Goodenough and Welch still the top 5. Same players, different order. So, Chris, with that caution coming out right off the bat, what does that put us on our fuel window? Does that kind of extend things out to maybe around lap 40 if we make it all the way there before we start seeing guys duck down pit lane?
Yeah, you save quite a bit under caution, especially here. Obviously, you're basically wide open here for the most part. So under those caution laps, you're definitely saving. So I think you would probably see it stretch out to around that 40 mark, like you were saying. So especially for the guys that aren't leading the line.
Well, about 30 laps shy of their first green flag stops. We cross our fingers, hope we make it to that point, because that's really where things get interesting. Seems like the top 20 cars plus here still double file. Single file line behind them. Watch Chris Klein here in the 19th spot. Jason Gaines continues to lead over Albert Anderson. Anderson right to the tailgate of that number 83. Seems content just to kind of ride there for the time being. No sense in trying to make an aggressive move for the race lead this early on. Man, they are bunched up tight.
And this is what we were kind of talking about earlier. You see the lines have kind of stalled out, side by side with each other. If you can get that 68 on that top side, a little bit closer to DW without getting too tight and pushing up the track, you will actually see that line kind of push forward because they carry that run so much off the high side.
That's something we've talked about quite a bit here with Speedway racing. Is just it's a matter of not just the numbers and having X number of trucks lined up in a row, but it's how organized that line is. Like you're saying, Chris, you really got to get as close as you can to the bumper in front of you without pushing it. Yeah, if you're the second guy in line, you can push it, but then you got to make sure everybody behind you doesn't push you, because that really causes problems. You hear it so often, don't push the pusher, because you really end up in a problem if that starts to happen.
Yeah, unless you got Zach Millett in third who doesn't care and he's just going to push you through first.
Well, that's different. Anderson starting to lose the nose a bit. He stepped out there and off turn number 2. You got just a half a foot between himself and the line to the outside. Don't know if that was just getting some fresh air in the radiator or if it pushed off the corner. Watch again here the next lap here. Watch Albert Anderson. See if he loses the nose on exit. Chris, is that usually what tends to go, especially here as that right front tire starts to give up on you?
Yeah, really both rights. Mine were wearing out pretty good last night. Just both on the right side. It was pretty even, but yeah, those right sides, and when that happens, that truck will just take off up the track. And I know I gave Atlanta a couple Darlington stripes without thinking about it, but yeah, you'll see that, especially that bottom line will end up about half a lane up the longer it goes.
On that same topic, we did watch Anderson exit turn 4 this time, a much shallower exit, gave himself the space for the nose to slide up if it did, but it actually stuck. Stayed in behind the 83 of Gaines, but now he slides up there in the middle of 3 and 4. Back to the stripe, Gaines continues to dominate. This is kind of more of the same of what we saw last night. Everybody relatively minded their P's and Q's early on, just trying to get into a rhythm, settle things down. It wasn't until the last half of the race things got a little chaotic. Hopefully that's not the case here tonight. But the aggression level, I'll get it out eventually, is likely to go up here as we get closer and closer to the end of this race, as all these super speedway style races tend to go. Is that usually your game plan rolling into these types of races, Chris? Just kind of settle into a rhythm, get comfortable, see who you can work around and who you can't?
Yeah, that's my game plan going into it. It usually doesn't happen, but that's typically the game plan. Just kind of get settled in, find somebody that you work well with, and try to just maintain track position. You definitely don't want to get stuck in the back. These races, especially as you can see here, you got the top 15, 20 that are right there together and you can't go anywhere. So if you find that one person that you can work with and work your way through, then you've actually set yourself up pretty well.
Watch this battle now for about the 10th position between Ricky Wittenberg and Zach Hallinan. Hallinan in the 74 711 machine topside. Wittenberg on the bottom in the yellow and red Pepsi number 55. Oh, Hallinan in the fence, the 74, up the racetrack, contact is made, caution is out, hard impact for Everidge.
What's going on out there, bud?
Trouble in turn 4. Watched it happen live there. Hallinan was up the racetrack, got into the fence just a touch, and then everybody in behind, really nowhere for them to go, runs them over. Back it up just a hair here. Watch the 7-Eleven truck, the white and green and orange. Gets in the fence on his own. The 23, Sean McDonald gets in there. Mike Everidge gets a piece. He's going to get run over from the back. These guys are just still hammering the throttle here. So watch the 82, Mike Everidge. He takes a big hit at the end of this, but I think it's really the 16 comes in a little hot. Average is way off the pace. Well, pit stop's just about complete for the majority of the field here. Some drivers still in pit lane, maybe involved in this incident. See Tim Pope with some new colors on board. Josh Bittner, John Osborne. So through that exchange, it's going to give Greg Dobson the race lead. Now, Dobson stayed out on the racetrack, did not pit. Maybe an opportunity just to lead a lap. We'll see if he comes down and pits this time, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. I mean, we're 19 laps in, at least as far as green flag conditions are concerned. I mean, would you be too worried about tires with 4 sets over the wall right now?
At this track temperature, I probably would have come down and taken them myself. If I were in the seat, but everybody's got a plan for the end. So, if he's got a strategy that he's trying to stick to, I've seen it work out really well for those guys. So, I guess we'll see how it works out for Dobson there.
Yeah, we're looking at the stats here. It looks like just about everybody up and down pit lane came down, pit, took 4 tires as well. So that was kind of the plan for everybody. I guess Dobson wanted that track position. He's only started back in the 9th spot, so I don't think he was too far back to begin with. But like you said, maybe he's got a different plan, something up his sleeve. We'll see if it pays off here at the end of the race.
They always say if you follow the leader, you just follow the leader, right?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Need to watch out for, especially on older tires with this track temp, 26 laps on this set. Make sure we check out these tire spin for Dobson. Make sure he keeps that under control.
It's a good point. We did see a lot of drivers last night starting off in first gear for these restarts, and they were able to jump out in front of a lot of the drivers on those restarts. Be curious to see if Dobson's going to try that on those older tires. That could certainly be dicey.
Braver than I am. If he does.
No guts, no glory.
Green flag.
And he doesn't go. I don't think he spun the tires. He didn't see the rear of the truck wiggle, but he just didn't fire off. Bott's going to jump to the outside now in front of Gaines. And Dobson's going to drop to the back here. I don't know if he's got a problem. Dobson on the flat of the racetrack. He might be coming to pit lane here. No, maybe not. I don't know what's going on here with the 085. Greg Dobson restarted as the race leader again. He stayed out during the yellow, did not take tires. He's gone from first to worst in just about a lap. So Dobson now back in the 36th position. He's about 4 miles an hour slow at start-finish compared to what they ran in qualifying, too. So I don't know if he's got a different problem he's worried about. So Gaines now to the race lead. Vaught settles in second in behind. Albert Anderson leads the outside. Derek Welch tucked in behind the 99. Dylan Bryant there as well. That's a pretty stout top 3 in the outside. Vaught switches lanes quickly in front of Albert Anderson, going for the race lead. A brazen move here, 30 laps in. Alan Vaught looking at Jason Gaines. This is the battle for the race lead. Craig Goodenough gets to the inside. We'll see how this outside starts to pull a little bit better as he can carry just that much more momentum around the inside lane. At the line, Vaught's going to lead that one. Just about quarter distance in the books here at Atlanta. Relatively tame up to this point. Right now, the top two, it's Jason Gaines, Alan Vaught. They keep swapping that race lead back and forth. In behind them, Craig Goodenough and Albert Anderson, and John McAdam and Derek Welch. That's the top six, and still plenty of heavy hitters in behind them. It could certainly play a factor before this one is out. Let's ride on board here with Derek Welch. We'll watch the driver's eye camera here, what it looks like from his perspective as he rides in behind Albert Anderson. Greg Dobson back in the 35th spot, now 22 seconds behind the race leaders. That's how much ground he has lost since the restart. And with all that, I think he's going to need to pit here in the next handful of laps. Remember, Dobson stayed out on the racetrack, did not take the opportunity to pit, wanted that track position, wanted to lead that lap, did so. Then once the restart got us underway, he dropped to the tail of the field. Mike Adamson in the 88 machine just to the inside of Dylan Bryant. That's about for the 8th spot. One truck up in the wall. I think it's Bittner. Bittner pancakes the right side. Checks a few trucks up behind him, but continues on. Bittner just slipped up the track just a bit. We've seen a couple of trucks do that here this evening. Lose the nose, go up the racetrack, get into the safer barrier. Kind of grinds the truck down to a slower pace. Luckily, the guys behind them were paying attention. Didn't turn that into another caution here at the track. Bittner continues on, albeit in the 17th, now 16th position, depending. And we got another truck in the wall. Andrew Player keeps it pinned on the wall. Everybody gets by. Player was involved in a previous incident. That's where that damage on the left front came from. Back out front. Bittner able to hang on to that truck and hang on to those positions. Still sitting there in the 16th spot after that contact with the wall. He is working the high lane a little bit higher than everybody else. Trying to keep the fresh air on the nose of that F-150 as he rides in behind Dave Mayberry. Back out front now, Alan Vaught to the race lead. Gaines has slipped back just a bit now to the outside, still in front of Albert Anderson. Craig Goodenough tucks in behind Vaught. McAdam in the 47, third truck in line on the low side. I tell you, McAdam's just taking care of his truck. Being patient, started fifth, runs fifth, 44 laps in.
One thing I wondered is if the 33 was able to clear that bottom line, if he jumped down there and leave Albert's nose, and looks like that's what he did, and then the 83 shifted up, so you got those front two trucks that just swap positions. One went high, one went low.
Let's go back and look at it here. This might be the pass for the lead here just a moment ago. Looks like Anderson got Jason Gaines kind of out of line there just a bit, gave him room to come back down, but lost the momentum on the 83. It allowed Alan Vaught to shoot out in front. Complete that pass. Craig Goodenough looking racy behind the 33. Really nowhere for Craig to go. Gaines might be having some trouble here with the right side tires on that truck. We see him continuously slip up the racetrack, almost opening the door for Albert Anderson to get to the inside. But now Gaines drops down in front of Alan Vaught, takes the lead back. I don't know, Chris, was he swapping that lane to go up top, trying to build a little bit more momentum to do just that?
Well, Albert was pushing the 33 of Vaught for forever, and Albert pushed the 33 in front of Gaines, and then they did the same thing just now, but previously the 83 shot to the high side in front of Albert, and that's how they switched spots. So 83 just did exactly what the 33 did to him, and except the 33 didn't have room to go high. So we're interested to see if DW can get Albert up there to kind of get side by side with the 83 and see what happens there.
Yeah, things are getting a little dicey here at the front of the field. Alan Vaught swapping top, bottom, top. Little bit of trading paint there with Albert Anderson, just a touch in the middle of turn two. Vaught, though, still tucked up just a few inches off the back bumper of Jason Gaines ahead down into turn number 3. Craig Goodenough changing up his lane a little bit as well, way down the low side of the racetrack. Very shallow entry for the 89. Vaught's going to give the 83 a bit of a bump here down the back. I think he's trying to create some distance, some space there. If it gives him a chance, he can jump back up in front of Albert Anderson. Oh, he was clear. Decided to stick with Gaines. Through the dog leg. Man, Allen just gets a big run. Even on the bottom of the racetrack, out of turn 2, he really closes the gap on Gaines. Alan Vaught all over that back bumper of Jason Gaines. Let's watch it here. Gonna ride on board with the 83. We'll see how close Alan closes up. He's done it every lap here on the back straightaway. Anderson now jumps out into the race lead. So Albert Anderson got the lead and got clear, pulled it down in front of Gaines. So now the number 99 Country Time Machine leads this field. Gaines second. Second and third, Welch, and third and fourth, Welch and Vaught. Lap after lap, it almost seems like both top and bottom lanes all kind of drift up the racetrack as if that truck don't want to turn. It's been about 30 laps since the last pit stop. As they close in on Greg Dobson. Going to get tricky with Dobson. Does he go to the bottom? He does. So Dobson's 2 laps down. At the stripe, looks like he'll be 3 down. So the 085 drops to the flat of the racetrack, trying to let the race leaders get by cleanly. Likely to see some pit stops here in the next couple of laps. We've been under the green long enough. Those tanks are starting to run a little bit dry. Gaines now back in the race lead after there's some shuffling was going on to try to avoid the 085 of Dobson. Dobson subsequently went to the bottom of the racetrack to get everybody clear of him, but it cost Anderson the lead. He switched up now into the top lane again. Top 2 on the bottom is Gaines and Vaught, but again, pit stops likely coming soon.
You can tell the pit stops are coming because look how many more trucks are in that bottom line now, just getting ready for it. Pit entry is going to be interesting too, Steve. We have to keep our eyes on who gets penalized because entering in turn 3, there's no speed limit until you get to the pit road, but you have to keep it below that white line, and that's not an easy thing to do on these old tires either.
Now, iRacing, I didn't hear if they did or did not. Did they update the pit speed for the entry in turn 3, or is that wide open as far as you can take it?
As long as you keep it below the white line there, you can take it as fast as you want. So as long as you maintain that, you go over that line, you're getting black flag for unsafe pit entry. So the 45 mile an hour speed limit doesn't start until the cone on the front.
A lot of these guys are still in the throttle. 61 laps have gone up on the board. It might be getting better fuel economy than we anticipated. No, here comes Gaines, though. Gaines is going to come down. So is Vaught. So is Craig Goodenough. They're all going to pit this time. That's going to give Anderson the lead. Alan Vaught taking a peek to the outside of Jason Gaines, all the way on the flat of the racetrack. So our first round of green flag pit stops here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Jason Gaines rolls down as the race leader. Now Anderson from the lead's going to pit. That's going to give Chris Klein the top spot. We got Cosmo Kramer in the chat, says the replay brought to you by Doritos Locos Tacos. Well, I'll tell you right now, if you're going to send me a case of tacos or Doritos Locos Tacos, I will put the logo up and make sure that it truly is the replay sponsor. Sponsorship space available. So Albert Anderson dumps the clutch, heads back into the race. Scott Roney now your race leader. Roney has really stretched it. This is his 40th lap on this tank of fuel. Joe Canellis has stayed out. He's also on the same lap on this tank of fuel. So he's got an extra 4 laps. Somehow, maybe just sticking in the draft. So on pit lane now, Scott Roney, Joe Canellis, Chris Klein, John McAdam, Dylan Bryant, Mayberry, Rincon, Dickerson, Gallagher, Benfield, Williams, Osborne. Juan Valdez says, sponsored by Cialis. It's a truck race, not a Corvette race. Roney and Canellis head back into the fight. Roney exits pit lane. He's still the leader, but not for long. Allen's going to go by on the top side. Allen Vaught in behind the 23. Sean McDonald going to lose the lap here. So our first round of green flag stops in the books, and it looks like it got taken care of without major incident. But Allen Vaught goes top of the racetrack to block the advance from Albert Anderson. That is a very aggressive block for only halfway through this race, and it almost cost him. Anderson's going to get the lead anyway. Vaught stuck on the high side with nobody helping him. They're 3 wide behind the leader. Oh, Jeremiah Burke almost trading paint with Derek Welch and Allen Vaught. He was the meat in the sandwich there in the dogleg. Doubled back up. Just past halfway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Your top 10 is Anderson, Klein, Burke, Welch, and Vaught. Goodenough, Eaton, Bittner, Paul, and Pope. We're going to step aside, go side by side, track limit style. Stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Caution on the speedway. Looks like Deion Jones in trouble. Jack Dixon and Deion Jones just coming through the dog leg. Deion locked it sideways, but straightened her right back out. A good save by the 4. Not clear. I think Jones had Larson spot her there for a minute. So, pit stops underway yet again. I know we were in lap 61, but caution's out. Might as well come down, get some service, some tires, some fuel. Now, I don't know. This would be, I think, the 3rd pit stop for Albert Anderson. Would leave him with 1 set of tires left. So Alan Vaught, Kelly Kuhl, Greg Klein, they all stayed out on the racetrack. Should get the one to go this time as Jason Gaines is going to make a pit stop. Gaines back in the 33rd position. Topping off. Gaines doing some calculations here, thinking he's far enough in the pack here. It won't hurt him too much to put some extra fuel in that thing. Now, it may not necessarily be beneficial pit strategy-wise, but it does put a little extra weight in the rear of the truck. Make that truck a little lighter in the back, or a little heavier in the back, that is. Make it a little looser. So the lighter you get on fuel, the taller that rear spoiler ends up being, and the more that truck's going to tend to push. Field doubled up, ready to go back. Green flag racing. Front row is going to be Alan Vaught, Kelly Kuhl. Row 2 will be Greg Klein, Jeremiah Burke. Row 3, Derek Welch, Craig Goodenough.
Green flag, green flag.
It is green flag in the air. Vaught, great restart. I think Vaught might have missed a shift there as the 92 closed up very quickly out of the dog leg. Vaught still with the hammer down though. Greg Klein tucked in behind here out of turn number 2. Outside line with only 2 trucks. The inside's really going to march forward. Klein tried to step out, and still not quite enough room. top 26 trucks still double file, all battling for their positions here. 78 laps in the books. Atlanta Motor Speedway, front two, still Alan Vaught, Kelly Kuhl. Not used to seeing them side by side. Usually nose to tail is what's more in order. We'll see if Kuhl makes the run here, tries to take that race lead away with Jeremiah Burke all over the tailgate of the 01. Oh, Greg Klein, a little stray push. I don't know if he crossed himself up there or if it pushed Allen high. Got my attention. Greg Klein taking a look to the inside yet again. Alan Vaught late to close the door, but closes it just enough to prevent the 92 from getting alongside. Out of turn number 2, Greg Klein, though, certainly anxious to get by the 33. He knows the longer Alan Vaught is out in front, the harder it is going to be to get by him. Clean air is king. Doesn't matter what kind of race car you're in. If you're out in front, you got all that air on the nose of your machine before anybody else gets it. Utopia. Klein, though, hugging that red line at the bottom of the racetrack, trying to wait for an opening.
For a second there, I thought he was going to stick his nose underneath and make it pretty wide there.
Been a couple opportunities where I thought he was going to get alongside, like you said there, Chris, but hasn't materialized yet. I think the closer we get to the conclusion of this, the more likely that's going to happen. Every time he dives into that corner, I think he's going for it. On board with Alan Vaught now. We're going to watch, see what Klein does here. Klein does have a little bit of right front damage, so I don't know if he's going to be the best driver to be out in the front of this field. I think running in behind the 33 right now is the best place for him. Don't know if he's aware of that right front damage.
You know, I think if I'm Allen here, if I can get the clear of the 01 on the high side, I might slide up in front of him just to see if I can control both lines. No, if he knows that Klein does have that right front, he may not be able to pull out in front, and he can kind of control both lanes at the same time.
We saw a little bit of that last night. There wasn't really a defined lane that was better than the other. Top was good for a while, then the bottom. Seemed like the low side is where you wanted to be. That's where Allen's running now. But as you mentioned, we talked about early in the broadcast, if you get enough trucks organized top side, it can really roll the top and make the moves. Right now, Kelly Kuhl happy to be where he's at in front of Jeremiah Burke top side, and I think he's got enough pace up there with the trucks that are there drafting with him. He could have slotted down in front of the 33, opted not to. Again, you got to keep in mind the 01 and the 33 work together quite well, quite often, especially on these drafting style tracks.
Yeah, we talked about finding that friend early and who you can work with, and it looks like Kelly and Jeremiah started about 3 spots apart from each other, and they're both up over 20 positions, so they may have worked their way all the way up together.
And Derek Welsh had a big run on Greg Klein, had to check up considerably to avoid contact into turn 1. Oh, trouble! Big time wreck on a turn number 4, late on the yellow, but we've got multiple trucks involved in this one, and some of them from the front of the field.
Saw it happening right at the end of one of the shots there. I don't know if the 92 caught the apron or just kind of slid up, but...
Well, we'll take a look at it here. Just a moment ago, a little late into it. We'll back it up. Yep, just as you thought, Chris. Looks like the 92 caught the low side of the track below that red line, and it shot him up into the 53. There you see Klein dips it below that red line.
When it flattens out like that, it just shoots you straight up the track.
Well, it unloads the front of the truck, and on top of the fact, he goes up into the wake of the 33, so now he's aero push as well. Nothing you could really do other than just check up hugely, but then you got the rest of the field bearing down on you, and this is the end result. Dustin Eaton gets a little bit of this.
Ooh, Albert just squeaking through right there.
Burke's going to get a big piece of the safer barrier here. Still a lot of guys not checking up enough here when that yellow's out. Granted, I will give them the benefit of the doubt there that yellow was very late to be thrown. Again, that's not an admin yellow. It's only iRacing, so sometimes that algorithm gets a little messed up. Caution number 4, lap 92. Albert Anderson and Joe Canellis at the front of the field. They stayed out during this caution. Last pit stop at lap 73. Based on their pit stop count, too, Chris, I'm thinking that both those drivers, at minimum, Albert Anderson might be sitting on his last set of tires over the wall. So if he's not going to take rubber, really no sense to bother pitting for fuel at this point. Going to stay out, have that clean air, have that to his advantage. You don't want to be in the draft with those old tires.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Looking at the laps remaining and stuff, if it goes green the rest of the way, everybody's going to have to pit one more time. I don't think anybody's making it to the end from here. So take the chance, like you said, put the clean air on the nose and see what you got.
We got Albert Anderson in the chat, says, whoo, dodged a bullet that time, son. Certainly did. That was a close one for the 99 of Albert Anderson. Looks like we are doubled up here, ready for the restart. It'll come in lap 94. It'll give us 40 laps remaining. And I think even the most aggressive fuel save is not going to get you to the end here if we go green all the way, which these trucks at this place, I don't think we got to worry about that either way, but there's always that possibility. We have had one green flag pit stop run here today.
I don't even think you can put fuel in the roll cage to make it from here.
Quarter mile of fuel line. Field working out of turn 4. Pace truck hits pit lane. Track temp has come down considerably here to 92 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to be a benefit to those on the older tires. Joe Canellis doesn't fire off well, spins the back tires just a bit, opens the door for Alan Vaught. Anderson, though, gets away clean. Gentle on that throttle. Alan Vaught switches lanes, goes to the top. No help for the 33. Kelly Cool thinking about going up in front of the 33 of Vaught, though. Sticks to the back of Albert Anderson for now. And here comes Dylan Bryant. Some drafting assistance on the way for Alan Vaught. In the middle of 1 and 2, the 51, Dylan Bryant tucked up behind the 33. Joe Canella still free falling here, back to the 8th position while Anderson continues to lead. Kelly Cool dips the left sides below the red line into turn 1 as well. Slips him up the racetrack just a bit. Not enough to cause an issue, but something to be aware of. That happens later on in this run, and those tires have worn. We're going to have a repeat of our last caution. Albert Anderson doing a good job hanging on to that top spot. Alan Vaught, though, is working to the outside here. Dylan Bryant, who's shown a propensity to be very fast on these super speedway style tracks, the drafting tracks. Canellis now 3rd in line in the top lane. Justin Eaton coming into the picture. Slow truck, I think that's Greg Klein. Klein's going to check up, let the leaders go on through. And Chris Klein in the fence. And we got trouble. Caution is out. It wasn't Chris Klein. It was the 68.
Sounds like it's a little far away from your
Dustin Wade in trouble.
For us, please.
Now the question is, does Anderson pit now? He can make it from here.
It wouldn't surprise me if you see everybody drop down and pit here.
Or do they gamble and stay out, wait for those tires to be a little bit older? Hope a caution comes out before it's over. I would be willing to bet we're going to see more than one yellow before this checkered flag drops.
I think there's a guarantee here.
So Dustin Wade gets in the fence on his own. I think it was Hunt that dropped down trying to avoid contact, but really nothing he could do there. Wade goes around, and the 4 Jones is going to get him. As we expected, Albert Anderson comes down to pit. A couple guys stay out, though. Alan Vaught. It's about 50-50, Chris. Looking at it here.
That is kind of surprising that it's 50-50. I think back half, you got nothing to lose by coming in. You know, the front half, I can understand them staying out, but I figured you'd see a few more there from the front.
Albert Anderson down and away, 4 tires and fuel, 14.62 seconds. Not a bad stop by any means, but he's going to come out here. Looks to be in the 17th position. Handful of drivers ahead of him, pit with him as well, but it was fuel only for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 drivers ahead of Anderson. So Anderson's first truck back out on the speedway with fresh tires. His last set, more than likely. Everybody from the 11th position forward has stayed out. It's interesting because I think this will get them to the end on fuel with this caution, Chris, but will tires come into play here? With Anderson out there on fresher rubber, it's only about 8 laps fresher, if even that. Does it make a difference at the end of the run?
If it goes green, I think it does. I think even those 8 laps do make a big difference here. So, but I think the biggest thing for Albert right here is making sure to stay out of trouble. I mean, you're in a position where, we've seen the last couple incidents have been relatively close to the front. One was, second, third place, but I think if he can keep the nose clean, I think he's got a pretty good shot of working his way through with those new tires towards the end.
Well, we're all set for the restart here. Pace truck lights have gone off. Lap 102 for the green flag. Front row, Alan Vaught, Dylan Bryant. Again, with these extra caution laps, and as long as we don't get a green-white checkered situation, I think everybody in the top 11 can make it on fuel. As we talked about, Chris, tires could be the issue.
Yeah, and you got a lot of heavy hitters here in the front, too, with Alan and Dylan and 01 and 18 right behind them. Those are some 4 pretty strong trucks here at these drafting tracks, too, so it'll be making it for an interesting finish. Hopefully it stays green, but we'll see what happens.
Base truck is in.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Vaught on the gas. Dylan Bryant the same. A little wiggle out of the 51. But as we've seen so many times in the draft, Alan Vaught, Kelly Cool get lined out 1-2. Everybody else tucks in behind. Single file for now.
Caution's out.
And there it is. The caution is back out. What do we have? What do we have? And the 68 goes around again. I think Derek Welch might have been involved in this as well. Let's get a look. Yeah, there it is, just behind it. So Welch up the racetrack. Does he lose this on his own? No, contact. Tim Pope gets in a good enough, sends him up, just barely touches Derek Welch, and narrowly misses Albert Anderson. Chris, you made that comment before we went back green. You got to worry about that. That was a close call for Albert Anderson for sure.
Yep, that's the second close call for the night for him. I think he got his tailgate almost ripped off a couple cautions ago too.
Well, we talked about that. He had a lot of bad luck last night. Hopefully he's gotten that out of the way. And then later on in this same caution, Dustin Wade and Anderson again. I want to get a better look at that and see what caused this. This is after the yellow was already out.
I think if you watch the 14, 2 cars in front of Albert, I think he gets either on the apron or helped from the 88, and maybe Albert saw it and slid up some.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. Immediate reaction. The 88 goes up too. Justin Eaton, though, does a good job keeping that truck straight, not going up the racetrack. Well, Albert Anderson with a golden horseshoe up his ass. Let's see if it pays off here. 30 laps to go here before we settle this one. And certainly now, with this additional caution, those drivers that pit on lap 91 can definitely make it to the end. But with that said, Albert Anderson, even with that quick caution up to the 12th spot from 17th, he's got a shot still. Plenty of time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I would put money that we're not done seeing the yellows out too. So the aggression's going to amp up here and see what happens. Tell you what, look at who has silently worked his way up here. Look back in that 6th spot. You got Russ Kilgore back there. He's up 32 spots. Just silently. Quiet and worked his way up to the front. Nose clean, truck's clean, and he's just there hoping out for the end.
Definitely a job well done. Now it's time to finish it. Pace truck lights are out, ready for the restart through turn 4. Pace truck makes the hard left into pit lane. Front row, Vaught and Cool. Row 2, it's Chris Klein and Dylan Bryant. They fire off. Cool changes lanes, just tucks right in behind Alan Vaught yet again. It's like watching the Sisk Speed Shop from last night all over again.
Wouldn't be surprised if that was a first gear restart.
It seemed it. The top two really took off. Sun peeking back out here at the Speedway. Track temp still nice and low at 89. With that sun coming out, it may get a little warmer. Oh, we got trouble in the back of the pack. Looks like Dixon up the racetrack in the 48.
Caution up.
Caution on the Speedway again. Kyle Vaught involved in this one with Jack Dixon. We'll watch it here. 3 wide just up ahead, 3 wide here in this mix with Pope on the bottom. Kyle Vaught slides up the track a bit. Dixon is there. Canellis is going to get into this as well. Jason Gaines got a big piece also. Nose damage on the 83, one of the dominant trucks earlier on. Oh, Gaines just never lifted. he was still on throttle when he hit Canellis. You hate to see it. So it sets us up here, 25 laps to go. We're still behind the pace truck here. Lights are on. Expect them to go out this time. Get the one to go at 24 left. Restart at 23 to go. Update on Albert Anderson, now back into the 16th position after that issue. It's right in the thick of that. Now, I believe we may be going single file restart here. It appears that is the case. Yes, we are behind the iRacing pace truck here with Alan Vaught. He is still saving as much fuel as he can, but lights are out. We are lined up single file, so a single file restart, throwing it back to the old school. But Vaught actively trying to save fuel. It was going to be close to begin with. We've had a couple of cautions, but I think he's just trying to build up a little bit of insurance here in case we do get that green-white checkered. Well, let's give it a go. Single file restart. Pace truck is in.
Green flag.
And there it is. Green flag in the air. Look at the tandem draft at the front. Vaught and Kelly Cool. I think another first gear restart, but they get away and they draft all the way through turns 1 and 2. But the pack's catching up to him here in turn 3. The 123 of John Gallagher in the mix, looks to the outside. Dylan Bryant going to push here. Going to be a bit of a drafting help for the 123. Off turn 4, has the run. What a finish this would have been. 22 laps to go. Gallagher to the race lead. Big time run on the high side. Does he drop down in front? No, and Kelly Cool goes around. Caution is out.
Get a look at your gauges. Everything good?
Big one out of turn 2. Single file didn't help this time. Craig Goodenough lighting him up, trying to drive away. Cool able to drive away from the scene. So drivers involved here, it looks like Kelly Cool, Wittenberg, Mayberry, Kyle Vaught, Albert Anderson, Craig Goodenough, John McAdam, Chris Klein. See what happened here. I think it might have been some contact with the 18. Yeah, Cool shifted down just a touch, but at the last minute, Klein shifted up, made contact with the 01. And then the melee is on from there. You see the 99 of Anderson making contact with a couple of different trucks. Great work by our camera operator here in turn 2. So what does that do to Alan Vaught here? Of course, Gallagher now the new race leader, and Kelly Cool, who usually becomes part of that dynamic duo with Alan Vaught on these draft tracks, working together, whether it's Alan in front or behind. It doesn't seem to make much of a difference, but the 0-1 now likely out of this.
I guess it's just every man for himself at this point, right? The one that you came to the dance with left early, so you either got a chance to look for a new partner or just dance by yourself. And that's probably what he's gonna do. Is probably just dance by himself.
Trust no one. I can only assume we're going to stay here with the single file restart. Lights are still on the pace truck, though. I think. No, I think they're out. Gallagher is far way back here from the pace truck right now. I know they're trying to save as much fuel as they can, but with all these cautions, I don't think anybody's really going to have a problem.
I understand the single file restarts. I think you see a lot more people making daring moves in single file because there's more open track.
Yeah, on these tracks for sure, there's more space. You can kind of dive to the top or dive to the bottom. You can almost create a bigger problem. Well, it'll be 18 laps to go at the stripe here. Pace truck has been off the track for a while, and Gallagher's really holding this field slowly here.
Green, green, green.
Late in the box before he fires off. I think Vaught got to the gas before Gallagher. And caution out again. Not sure what we have here. May have happened here with Ricky Wittenberg and maybe Dixon. I'm not sure. A little bit of right front damage on the 55. Now it's Chris Klein again and Joe Canellis. Klein jumps to the inside. Canellis trying to avoid Mayberry, gets into Klein. Now at half speed, that's somewhat easy to make a decision on how it went wrong, but let's see what it looks like at full speed. So now 16 laps to go. We work caution number 9.
You know, Steven, this is kind of what we saw last night too. You had some long runs there at the beginning and middle part of the race, and then as you got closer to the end, down to crunch time, you couldn't get any type of rhythm going, and it just caution after caution there at the end.
Well, cautions breed cautions, and I think that's kind of the mindset here with the single file restart. But this late in the game, everyone's checked out. They're aggressive level 10, trying to get every position they can before this one's over, scratching and clawing for every inch of track position they can gain. In many cases, it's a root and gouge situation. You're going to knock guys out of the way, and tire smoke starts to go, and yellow comes back out, and they repeat the process. So we are on the 1 to go. We'll get the restart now with 14 laps remaining. So far, we're averaging 13 laps per green flag run with these 9 cautions to this point, based on the 118 laps that have been run. So there's still that mathematical chance, based on averages. We've got one more caution left in us before this one is concluded.
Green flag, green flag.
Gallagher ways out in front. Vaught's going to take advantage here. He's going to pounce here. Can't change lanes before the line, but he stays right to the back bumper, pushes Gallagher out of the dog leg, will stick with him through turn 1. I think Vaught was hoping he'd be there a little bit later than he was. Gallagher with the lead still down the back straightaway. Top 5, 6 drivers all single file. Vaught steps out for a moment. Takes a look to see who might want to go with him. Further back, and look at this. Tim Pope into the top 10. Running in the 8th spot alongside Russ Kilgore. Don't count him out. He is taking care of that truck all night long. He's still got all the fenders on it, and he is pushing towards the front. Dylan Bryant takes a look and then opens the door for Dustin Eaton. Now up to the top of the racetrack. Vaught goes high with drafting help from Dylan Bryant. Gallagher trying to block, trying to decide top or bottom. Ultimately goes back to the bottom to block the 14. Big time run on the outside. Does Vaught have enough into 1? Not quite yet. Gallagher taking advantage of the low lane with Dustin Eaton on the back bumper and Scott Roney in tow. Laps to go here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. John Gallagher, who started 40th, leads this race. Gallagher's got to be careful to keep that truck above that red line through the dog leg. You dip too low, you're going to catch a penalty. Top 10, all double file here, coming to 10 laps to go. Gallagher maintains the top spot. They're side by side for second behind. It's Alan Vaught, Dustin Eaton. Eaton in front of Scott Roney. Vaught with the help from Dylan Bryant. Tim Pope now into the 6th spot in the number 7 machine. Big wiggle for Pope in the middle of turn 2. Saves the truck, keeps his foot in it, but allows the 69 of Dickerson to close in just slightly. Now 9 laps to go. Gallagher maintains the lead. Three wide behind them, Tim Pope, top of the racetrack. Dickerson gets through. So Pope slips back to 9th now. Stepping on the line here up the front of the field. Some changes as well, but Gallagher maintains the lead. Now to the outside lane, the 14 to Dustin Eaton challenging. Scott Roney on the bottom, in behind Gallagher. Vaught shuffled back to the 4th spot. Vaught now trying to push the 14 to the race lead. And Dustin Eaton gets through and gets clear, drops to the bottom of the racetrack in front of John Gallagher. Gallagher right to the back bumper here, trying to get a run, could slot up in front of Alan Vaught. Does he? No, he stays put. Roney gets to the right rear of the 123 of Gallagher, but Gallagher pulls ahead. Still has the option, can jump up in front of Roney, but he sticks to the bottom of the racetrack. Chris, I don't know if that's the right move. I almost think he needs to go up top there. He's got some real good pushers behind him. I think he could really be successful if he jumps up in front of the 023 if he gets another opportunity.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You got such a strong line up there. I think if you get clear and you have an opportunity to get there, I think you take it for sure.
Roney now with the run to the outside. It could have been Gallagher in the front of Roney. Not to be now. The outside moving along. Big time push from Alan Vaught. Dylan Bryant right there to help bolster that lane. 5 to go, coming to 4 to go off turn number 4. Side by side for the lead on a turn number 2. Eaton and Roney side by side. Roney edges out in front now into turn 3 off the nose of Alan Vaught. Now 3 laps to go here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Russ Kilgore slides up the track just slightly there, almost getting into Larry Dickerson, but continues to march forward. Strong run by the 2 here tonight, solidly in the top 10. Just needs about 2.5 more laps before he can lock in this top 10 finish. Field into the dogleg here, now 2 laps to go. Eaton leads it by about half a truck length over Scott Roney. Gallagher still in the 3rd spot. 2nd truck in line. Kilgore up the racetrack again. Trades paint with the 69 of Dickerson. Got to keep a close eye on these guys. I think the tires on the 2 starting to go away. Again, those drivers made their pit stop lap 91, so a little bit older. Field on a turn 4. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go. Eaton leads, but not by much. Side-by-side battle over Scott Roney. We're talking just a few feet. It's been that way the last handful of laps. Gallagher still tucked in behind the 14. What's going to happen? Do they make it back to the stripe? Do they settle this under green flag conditions, or do they all wad them up into 3 and 4 for the final time? Dustin Eaton from the 13th starting position trying to hold off Scott Roney. Has the better exit, but a run on a turn 4 and at the stripe. Eaton wins it by 2 1/1000ths of a second over Scott Roney and John Gallagher.
Ooh, what a finish there. I had no idea who won.
Wow, that was close. Dustin Eaton with the win. Looks like Eaton's going to do a Polish victory lap here. Eaton trying to save that Ilmore engine for next week. Nice low RPM burnout. Kevin Harvick style here in the dog leg. Thrilling finish here at Atlanta. With that, though, we're going to step aside here, get our break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Dustin Eaton victorious, but not by much. We're talking the skin of his teeth. 2 1/1000ths of a second, the margin of victory over Scott Roney. We'll see if he can pull the driver of the number 14 up into the broadcast booth. Get a word with our race winner. Dustin, it's Chris and Steve in the Track Limits booth. You got a copy?
Oh, I'm here, fellas. How are you?
We're doing good. Congratulations, Dustin. An amazing finish here. You worked your way towards the front very late in this race, but you got out front when it mattered, and you were just barely ahead of Scott Roney there at the finish. 2 1/1000ths of a second, the margin of victory, man. Walk us through the closing laps of this race, what strategy you had coming into it, and did you stick to any of it?
Well, you know, you come in with something and it goes out the window after the first caution, right? And you sit there and you just try to survive, man. You know, you're right. I definitely played mid backfield, you know, towards the beginning. I think I started 13th and just stayed on the low line. It felt more comfortable, and most of the early wrecks happened off the high line. So luckily I avoided that. You know, teammates weren't so lucky. But, you know, there at the end, it was anybody's game. I definitely owe all that to John Gallagher and his pushing tactics. We pulled it out for old Team Tang, man.
Got the job done for sure. Checkered flag here at Atlanta. Looking forward now to Circuit of the Americas next week. We're going to run the West Circuit, the same as the Cup Series is going to run on Sunday. But we've watched you run these road courses in the past. You've certainly got some skills there. You got an opportunity to go 2 in a row. What do you think about it next week?
Well, brother, the circuits there, that's where I live. I live down here just north of Austin. I go every year, and that's my great white buffalo, if you will. First year I almost had it, and then me and Jess got into it a little bit, and I got distracted, and Greg walked away. Second year I was up over a minute ahead of second place, and my internet disconnected with like 6 laps to go. So definitely going to be try harding on that one. So keep an eye out for the old 14 in Texas.
Certainly looking forward to it, Dustin. Congratulations on the race win here tonight. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Oh, Wifey first and foremost. She lets me do it and keeps the kids away so I can concentrate a little bit. And Team Tang, definitely had some rough times out there for some of the fellas, but we pulled one out anyway. And then Jess and Lori for putting it on. Definitely a huge shout out to Gallagher again, man. This was anybody's race at the end. Had he been in front, I'd have been pushing, and he pushed me. So definitely a huge shout out to him, and appreciate you guys for putting us on.
All right, Dustin. Thanks for talking to us, man. Congratulations again, and good luck next week.
All right, appreciate you guys.
It's Dustin Eaton, your race winner here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the driver of the 0-2-3. That's going to be Scott Roney. I think that's the Fireball machine. We'll pull him up into the booth, get a word with our runner-up. Scott, it's Steve and Chris in the Track Limits booth. You got us?
Boys, how about that Fireball truck tonight, huh?
All right,
Fast
Scott.
as hell, baby. Fast as hell.
Congratulations, man. A second-place finish here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, bringing the Fireball to the checkered flag, second place. Walk us through your race, man. You started back, I think it was 21st, drove that thing to the front and held on there to the very, very bitter end.
Yeah, I just wanted to get myself in position. Last week I was in position again, and me and Eaton just tagged a little bit different, but this week a little bit different story. Got myself up front, got in the position I needed it, and as soon as I had that opening to the outside, it was all over with, and I just needed Alan to push me forward, and that's where we were going, baby. Forward.
Well, certainly a strong run. Second place finish, Scott. Congratulations. Looking forward now to the road course at Circuit of the Americas next week. How do you feel about turning left and right next week down in Texas?
Yeah, that's a good course at COTA this week. It's going to be tough for all of us, I think. A lot of turns, a lot slow. It's really slow, so it'll be interesting to see how we do. We're pretty fast here, everybody.
Well, we look forward to it, certainly, Scott. Congrats again on that second place finish. Anyone you want to shout out to before I let you go?
Yeah, Twilla Valley Motorsports for helping me out in the Jack Shack and all my team. And Good Enough. I couldn't do some of this stuff without Craig Good Enough some days. So I really appreciate everybody helping me.
All right, Scott. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Very excited. Scott Roney here. Second place finish at Atlanta. Good luck next week at COTA.
Thanks, guys.
Scott Roney. John Gallagher next up on the list to talk to. Our third place finisher, that 123 truck. Had an opportunity to take the win here tonight. John Gallagher starting back, I think it was 40th place. Drove it to the front, was leading here late. Managed to sacrifice a little bit here, but finishes in the third position. John, it's Steve and Chris in the booth. You got us?
You still got Scott.
Oh, boy. Now we're all screwy. Well, I think we lost John Gallagher. I pulled Scott back up because he was the only one left. Well, either way, John Gallagher, a strong run here, just missed it. Could have had that win. Was not meant to be, but John Gallagher, a strong third-place finish here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But with that, we're going to step out. We'll look here at our race results, because we do have them handy. Dustin Eaton, your race winner. Scott Roney was second. John Gallagher finished in the third spot. Fourth place was Alan Vaught. Dylan Bryant came home in the fifth position. Mike Adamson was sixth. Larry Dickerson, seventh. Eighth was Russ Kilgore. Tim Pope was ninth. Stoney Benfield finished in the 10th spot. Kevin Hunt in the 4-3-4 finished 11th. Deion Jones was 12th. 13th place was Austin Paul. 14th was George Rincon. 15th went to Josh Bittner. Greg Dobson was 16th. Kelly Cool 17th. Kyle Vaught finished in the 18th spot. Dave Mayberry was 19th. John Osborne finished in the 20th position. 21st, that went to Albert Anderson. There we go. John McAdam was 22nd. 23rd was Chris Klein. 24th went to Justin Wade. Ricky Wittenberg was 25th. Jack Dixon, 26th. 27th, Craig Goodenough. Anthony Williams in the 5 finished 28th. Greg Klein was strong up front for a little while, finishes 29th after an incident. Chandler Paul, 30th. Andrew Player was 31st. Jason Gaines, another front runner early, had his share of struggles here, finishes 32nd, 9 laps down. Andrew Cawthon, 33rd. Joe Canellis, 34th. Jeremiah Burke, 35th. Tough end of the night for Derek Welch as well, 36th place. 37th was Sean McDonald. Mike Everidge, 38th. 39th, Zachary Hallinan. And Lori Vaught, well, she's just making sure everybody behaves. Want to say congratulations again here to Dustin Eaton. A thrilling performance, a great race here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Again, we wrap this one up, and we look forward to next week at Circuit of the Americas. We've got a broadcast here coming up this Sunday. Also, the Pro Sim Racing Alliance, that's going to be at Richmond, race 1 of their playoffs. And then we're going to be back Tuesday for the Numb Thumbs Racing League, the Beatles Custom Car Carriers Truck Series. That'll also be at Circuit of the Americas West. And then we're back here again a week from today for the Vigilante Racing League, also at COTA. So stay tuned. Be here for it. If you guys haven't already done so, smash that thumbs up, that like button in this stream. It really does help us a lot. It doesn't cost anything for you guys to do that. You're already subscribed. Make sure you are if you are not. We just surpassed the 1,000 subscriber mark last night, so we also appreciate you guys for jumping on board and helping us get to that. I wanted to really get that done before the first quarter of 2025, and we did so last night. So thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. Thanks for following us. Thanks for being here every week. Thanks for keeping that chat busy. Thank you for everything. With that said, congrats again to Dustin Eaton. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good night.